Welcome back, fantasy managers. This is Devo 1099 with Fantasy Football Backers. Starting fresh here in week 2. My audio failed last week, so apologies if you tried to watch last week. I can promise that my advice was really, really good, except for the fact that I would have recommended Theo Walcott and Mings and Redmond. Well, though Redmond did bail us out. But I've got Big O1 or Nick here with us today, and we're going to go through game week 2. Nick, do you want to give us a quick rundown? How'd you fare in game week 1?
Fairly average. I like the slate, but yeah, as usual, like game week 1 is pretty much the hardest game week.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm quite happy that I basically broke even, slightly positive. So it's all fine. It's all
just
fine.
need to survive the first week.
Yeah, surviving is everything. Especially now this like Mondogoal stepped up the game, so
yeah,
it's quite easy to make money, but to lose as well. So it's good to survive the first week at least.
Yeah, I think it's promising. It looks like the action has stepped up on Mondogoal. They've got some more improvements coming, so I'm optimistic. I got completely bailed out in the big one. My teams were collectively pretty bad, but slightly above average overall. So I think I broke even as well. May have been up a little bit, but I missed on a lot. So I'm happy to get a little more clarity with the new additions, new managers, and then even the promoted teams. They burned me a little bit. I think I was looking at some of the wrong players, but should be good. Looks like the most of the money is going to be starting at the 3 p.m. slate Saturday. But why don't we just get right to it? Let's touch quickly on the other games, just in the sense of talking about these players, whether we use them this week or down the line. Villa is home in the trial Friday night game against Manchester United. How did you feel about those teams in the first week?
Well, I was very short Villa. I will still be short Villa for sure. Obviously the Manchester United crowd is quite it's a difficult one. I would say well, first of all, I won't play much on the early game, so I didn't really focus too much on it. Definitely Rooney will be an interesting pick.
It's come down a bit in price as well.
Yeah, exactly. It was quite awful last week, but it's clearly, he's a lone striker. He's kind of guaranteed 90 minutes against a Villa defense, which is far from impressive, even if they already got a clean sheet. But I still don't believe too much in them. So Rooney would definitely be my choice there. The Man U defense as well could be interesting. Especially the fullbacks are pretty attacking. I think I liked. That to be honest, that the first time I saw him, except in national team, but in a club, Damian was looking pretty good.
He looked great. He looks like he looked like a better, faster version of what Valencia did for them last year.
Yeah, definitely.
And he was in the mix down the right side most of the game.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I think it would pretty much do the same. I would imagine Man U to keep possession most of the game. So the fullbacks would be interesting. Romero as well is not a bad pick, but yeah, as I said,
he's a little expensive. I thought most of his shakiness came on when he was distributing the ball after saves. He looked a little bit scared.
Yeah, but that
was it didn't. Yeah, and it didn't hurt him too badly. My question with Romero, comes down to the fact that he's been the first team Argentina goalie for, several years now, for 2 World Cups and most of the time in between. So it's not like he is new to the international scale, and yet he was a backup, for a mid-table Serie A team. So I question how good he really is and whether United had any intention of him being their first choice keeper. I think that he probably came in for cover, in case De Gea left and they went to get Lloris or somebody else. But if they're stuck starting him, they'll be fine against Villa, but I think I don't know. I'm just not sold that he's particularly good.
No, I agree. I think he will be a backup keeper because Valdez will probably leave. Yeah, he'll be the backup.
Van Hall and Valdez don't seem like they get along particularly well.
No, apparently not, especially on Twitter.
I've seen Memphis, play for the Netherlands. I haven't really seen him much in Eredivisie last year, but obviously his numbers and his goals were impressive.
Yep.
But bringing his price tag over has made him, to me, unplayable. What level, based on what you saw and what you think he can do? I don't think either of us are going to play 15 million pounds for him. What do you think he's worth, and does he get you excited against teams like Villa that they should score on?
Yeah, definitely. The problem is a striker in Mondogoal, and basically you miss out on the clean sheets and you miss out on passes like it's 0.03 instead of 0.05. So it's a lot of points missed for a guy who is effectively a midfield. So that's the main problem. Last week I was quite heavy on him because I thought that it would not be as popular as well. So it was kind of differential.
And am I wrong, or did his price go up several million?
Yeah, and I didn't like the fact that he was subbed off after 68 minutes. I'm pretty much sure that will be the same tomorrow, which means I won't play a lot of early games, but if I played, I wouldn't have a lot of Memphis for sure. He's a good player, but he's so volatile. You expect a crazy goal.
He's at 15 million. What can he really do that besides
nothing?
He would have to be, somebody you used in the huge contests, not in any other contest. Like he had 2.6 points last week. His price went up, and he's playing away and got subbed off early. I don't think he's even a differential. I think he's just a bad play at that price.
No, I agree. I didn't even check. Is he still a striker or is he still a striker?
Still listed as striker.
Then I'm not. Yeah.
One thing that something we do in the United States here for NFL. So there's a Thursday night game in the NFL, and some sites, namely FanDuel, you have to put your whole lineup in on Thursdays, and then it shows all of your picks. DraftKings, because they have late swap, they protect all of your later picks. So you could put in, a Thursday night lineup, not use any players, but nobody can see who you had. So I'll sometimes do just like a dollar league in FanDuel just to see who everybody is looking at. And I think that strategy could work here as well. Put in a Friday night team. Don't necessarily expose some of your good ideas. And see where some of the other high volume players are going, and not necessarily to copy off them. I don't think that's a good strategy, but to see who's going to be popular, where, how big a risk you're taking with different players, and you might find certain players are differentials that you didn't think would be. So I'll be doing that a little bit. I don't want to give anything away too much, but. Happy to see whatever information I can get. So
that sounds good.
So let's move on. I think Villa, is going to be mostly unusable, but I think their prices will stay relatively low. You've got Justede, who came in and looked like a spark last time. He's only 4.2, so you're not using him against United, but maybe down the line as long as his price stays around there. Amave. 6.7, I think is going to be a decent player, and then Bakuna 6.4. I don't know if they have anybody that can finish their crosses anyhow, so might be worthless. But those are the guys I'll keep an eye on later on. But I think we've spent enough time on Villa. The early game is Southampton hosting Everton. I'm concerned about Southampton. They've looked good in their Europa qualifying. So that's promising. Those teams aren't nearly as good as the teams that they're facing in the Premier League. You know, the draw against Newcastle, they probably were a little unlucky maybe, but Newcastle played okay. Stecklenburg, you know, he was caught out a couple times, but he's so cheap. You know, at 3.6, I think he's got to be worth a play. Southampton's kept a clean sheet against Everton the last 3 matches at home. I mean, Pella and Tadic are still so cheap. You know, I think you kind of have to take a look at these guys, whether you're long Southampton or not.
Yeah, I mean, the keeper the price is ridiculously low.
Yeah.
I don't even know how he ends up 3.5 or 3.6.
I know we lost points last week.
Yeah.
So at least he lost you points for less than it cost Czech and Courtois to lose you points.
Exactly, it was better than Czech and Courtois.
Better value.
So yeah, it's definitely interesting. Soares, like Cedric Soares, looked good.
Yeah,
that would be nice if he played 90 minutes. But
right, well, that's what I was going to say. I think he came off at the half. That's just frightening.
Yeah, apparently he got a yellow, and he likes a yellow. So
okay, so they were scared.
Yeah, they were scared about a red card.
Right.
Having said that, he had Obertan in front of him, so you would think now with Miralas or Barkley, it's tougher competition. So, but yeah, no, definitely I would like him. Mane. I had so much Mane last week; it was ridiculous. didn't do that well, but apparently I didn't watch the game. I didn't even watch the highlights, but apparently it was pretty good.
Yeah.
I like him a lot. Tadic is okay, but he doesn't score except penalties.
Yeah, but he is on penalty duty, and
yeah.
He sends in so many crosses.
For DraftKings.
Though. Yeah. Sure, but also just, I mean, he got an assist off of a cross last week. And,
no, he's definitely.
He's 6.9. He was up around 10, 11 last year.
Yeah,
at times,
but
so.
Even with an assist, he got 6 points or 6.5.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah. So it's
right.
He was fouled once and he fouled 3 times and he didn't do anything else basically.
Are you happy that fouls have been cut in half?
No, not really, because it keeps. I mean, it's basically now it's all about goals and assists for a midfield.
Yeah.
The passes are still interesting, but you know pretty much like it's quite easy to model and to forecast. The foul was kind of. I mean, people like players like Hazard and at the time Sterling last year when he was in mid, they had such a high floor because of fouling. This year is like Hazard is getting fouled like 3-4 times a game, so he's losing effectively 2 points per game.
Yeah.
So
sure.
I'm not sure if I'm happy. No, I mean I would have loved basically like half a point penalty for a foul, but keeping the 1 point to get like to be fouled would be nice.
I think I probably agree with that. My concerns were, you know, it's hard to know when a player is fouling and actually hurting their team. You know, to separate that.
Yeah.
On this, you know, when you're fouling, you know, when Pella or somebody is fouling on a long ball and he's trying to head, like he's not really hurting his team too much when he's doing that. You know, he may have lost the ball, they may have lost the ball anyhow. You know, fouling a guy where that leads to a free kick that somebody takes. You know, you kind of wish that they could factor in where on the field the foul occurred to penalize accordingly.
Or penalize very little in general. And
yeah.
Because you get penalized -2 for a yellow anyway. So if it's a bad foul,
right,
you get the -2 already. So
yeah, I think overall I'm actually I think I prefer fouling being less overall, but
really,
I think so.
Yeah, it keeps less interesting as well. Like it's less engaging when you watch a game because. Like getting a foul for half a point is not that massive. So
yeah, but I guess I mean getting 4 fouls and you know equaling an assist though I thought was too high.
Yeah, but it doesn't happen much. Like maybe Hazard gets. I think Hazard was like 102 fouls last year, which is like 3 point something. So yeah, I don't know. I mean, I'm fine. At the end, it's not a game changer. So I thought they would, because first they came with an email in July saying, yeah, we kind of revamp the whole scoring system. I was
Right.
like, wow.
Right. The only
And
thing that they changed that, and they changed interceptions for
yeah,
defenders.
which makes sense. It's the hardest thing to do. Like an
Yeah.
interception was 0.10 points or 0.05.
0.05, and now it's 0.25, I believe.
Which is still too less. I mean, like
right, you're stealing the ball. That's a big play.
Yeah, that's the hardest thing. I mean, a tackle is nice, but you don't necessarily like do well when you tackle.
Yeah.
I mean,
right.
But anyway, I mean that's not a big thing. The stuff that I don't like is like penalty saved, which is totally random.
Mm-hmm.
It's 7 points, and penalty missed as well, -5. It hurts you so much.
It's such a big swing.
Yeah. So like you have a keeper saving a penalty and your opponent have a guy missing it. It's 12 points. It's too much.
Yeah.
It's
well, I mean, the swing, the theoretical swing would be even bigger.
Yeah, because he could have scored.
Yeah, you get the goal plus the shot on goal is 9,
yeah.
and then the goal out is -2. So that's a 26-point swing.
Yeah, but the penalty save makes 0 sense because it's purely random. Let's face it. I mean, it's
right.
So that does, but in any case, it's not a big thing. I think
it's fine.
The scoring system is fine.
Yeah, I think so too. Well, Everton away from home, they already struggled with who I believe is probably the worst promoted team. I know you like Watford a little bit more.
I disagree.
Than I do.
Yeah, I disagree. But yeah,
that's fine. I said it was my opinion.
Yeah.
I worry that Schneiderlin being gone, Alderweireld being gone. I don't know if Bertrand is going to be back. Klein's gone. I mean, maybe the Southampton, obviously Forster's still out. Maybe the Southampton defense is not going to be what we thought they were, in which case Lukaku at 9.4. And again, this isn't for the big contest, so I guess it's kind of irrelevant. But
yeah,
he could be decent at 9.4. I don't see using him once you look at everything else and not needing, a genuine differential if it's not in the 5,000 team contest. So,
no, Lukaku is always decent when you think he's not gonna do anything.
Right. It's just when you count on him that.
Yeah, exactly. Watford at home, he will never score, but then he goes to Man U and score a hat-trick. So.
Right.
He's always a good differential when people like completely ignore him because he just did nothing.
Yeah.
He
gets a tough rep considering, what is he, 21, 22 now? I mean,
yeah, he's a very good player at the end.
He's got time.
So,
but Everton's kind of boring. Their defense, I think Timmy Howard needs to just move into the announcer's booth full time. He's doing for NBC here in the States. He's doing.
Oh, really?
Not only does he do games, and he did games last year, he has a match on Saturday, the early match, and then he's going to be doing the Manchester City Chelsea game the next day. It's like, where's your focus? Like, how much preparation are you doing, for each of them? But I don't know. He's an interesting guy. I think he sees, long term the benefits of where football is going in the States, and he's already a big name, and if he's almost done. He's almost done at Everton.
I'm not a fan of the defense.
He comes out too hard, and he leaves them so exposed. And they have two good center backs, so he's definitely the one that's killing them.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I mean, even like the midfield is not. I don't know. I mean, I don't rate Barry that much as a defensive midfield.
Yeah. And
McCarthy is okay, but I don't know. It's this Everton team. I used to like it a lot, but it's going down.
Yeah, I think even with his goal last week, it's about time to give up on Barkley ever really being
Barkley. I know,
a reliable player. Yeah. I mean,
it's you hope for like the one, like it's a bit like the pie. You hope is always like long range shots, and you hope for a big one, but. It happens once in a while, but
yeah. Baines burned some people last week. I I think the information was probably out there.
Yeah, I saw it actually on Twitter around noon.
Yeah.
But that was just a rumor. But I basically switched all my Banes to Kolarov.
Yeah.
So it was a good thing. So for once, I benefited from this. But it was a pure like it was not sure at all. It was.
Yeah. I had so many teams, and I was focused on my DraftKings teams, and I just miss it.
Yeah, well, it was not an obvious one. I mean, it was not a football. It was just like a guy on Twitter, who is quite reliable. But
yeah.
But I mean, having said that, I missed out on I had tons of Mings, tons of Bellerin. So I had zero miss in all my cash games. So I was still burned.
So that goal being disallowed was not ideal.
It killed me. Yeah, it killed me.
All right, next one. So now we're getting into the games that will actually be part of the big Mondogoal contest. I think that's what we're primarily going to be focused on.
Yep.
Just because there's going to be some free money. That there's just no way that 5,500 managers sign up or entries sign up. Tottenham looked pretty good actually against United. They should have Lloris back. They draw Stoke, who Stoke actually hung around too. That they're typically a better team at home. I don't know for sure if Shaqiri is going to play. He wants to play.
He wants to.
I don't know if Hughes will put him in or not. Tottenham's defense will never scare me. I don't care how many center backs from Southampton they steal. They just seem like a mess. But maybe they're better. They looked better in the first match, so I'll give them benefit of the doubt for now. I'm not rushing to use too many Stoke players anyhow. How highly owned do you think Kane is? 10.6 million.
Very, very hard. Probably the most popular guy this week. I would say 50-60%. And I plan to be around that figure.
You don't really feel like taking a stance on him?
No, I like him a lot, so I don't want to be short on him. So I would think 50-60% of my teams I will have Kane. He's by far the best options in Tottenham. I mean, Eriksen looked very good, but it's the same as Lukaku. This guy. I mean, when you expect him to do well, he's doing nothing.
Yeah. He was close on that volley.
Oh God, yeah.
I don't want to say he should have finished it, but he could have. Kane's interesting to me because I wrote in our preview and I was on Kane most of last year. As soon as he came up, he was always scoring in Europa or in Capital One Cup, stuff like that. And I just as I mentioned, I don't like Adebayor, I don't like Soldado, so I liked Kane. I liked the prospect of him getting up. He certainly worked out. His price got up near 15 million, I think, at times. And so I was prepared to say that I don't think he's going to do as well as last year, but I think that's somewhat obvious. His conversion rate was very high. Giving the league a couple months to look at video to see that he can't really go left. But he's a good passer. He's a resourceful scorer. He's one of those players. He can score with his head. He does a lot of things on the pitch that put him in good position. He can score from long. He can get tap-ins. He's a very good player. By no means do I think he's going to regress to not being great. And his price has already come down. So, to me, if he was 13 or 14 million, then that would give me pause. But at 10.6, he's fairly priced. He's fairly priced and gets Stoke, at White Hart Lane. So, I tend to agree with you. I think, I think he's going to be one of the best options and the most popular options. And I think I'd rather find my differentials elsewhere than bet against him to get 8 to 10 points at a minimum. Yeah,
it's very hard to bet against him. I mean, with Kane, you get 90 minutes and you get a guy on penalty. So
yeah,
and he's gonna play the number 9. all by himself, because Soldado is gone today and Adebayor is out. So he's guaranteed 90 minutes as a number 9. So it's very hard to really go against him, I would say. Definitely.
Do you know if the Clinton NJ deal is done yet?
It is.
Okay.
Yeah, but if I'm correct, he's not European, so he need a work permit, I think.
So it could be a couple weeks still.
Yeah, exactly. Well, maybe a week, but I'm not sure actually. He might, I don't think so.
And we wouldn't be using him anyways. I'm curious. Yeah. He had a very impressive record last year. But
yeah,
I don't know how good he is really.
I think he will play on the wing instead of Lamela. He was playing along Lacazette, which basically helped him a lot.
Right.
He was okay. He's nothing amazing, to be honest.
Well, he's got to be better than Soldado.
Yeah, probably. I'm not even sure, but yeah.
Would you look at Diouf at 5.3 for Stoke?
I didn't, but yeah, he's a good player. The thing is, it will be something that comes up quite a lot. It's like, it's so easy to do an 11 without finding big bargains. Like last week, Jerome was great because I wanted a lot of players above 10 million. This week, I mean, except even Kane is hardly above 10. I won't choose much of the big guys like the Aguero.
Right. You don't really need to take a chance on
yeah. So it's you don't need necessarily a bargain just to allow you to get Hazard or to get all these guys. I mean, this week is different, I would say. So I would be less bargain hunting than I'm normally like.
Yeah. I mean, this could be a week where you pay up for defenders more than you would normally.
It's tough. I mean, which defenders do you get?
Well, I mean, Liverpool's got a very good chance.
Yeah, but you want I mean, we'll talk about it, but you want some strikers and midfield from them as well. So yeah, I mean, a lot of teams will have 4 Liverpool, so it's
I think, and justifiably so. Let's jump. So Tottenham we like. Sunderland just lost Adam Johnson, who I don't think anybody was crying for Adam Johnson.
I liked him.
Yeah, but I think there's a little bit of karma at play there. But he was decent. He was. I mean, I think he was probably their best player last week. So that's a bigger problem for Sunderland. I don't know if Norwich is the team to expose them, but Defoe's Defoe. He scored. He's an okay price. Do you like Lens?
Yeah, but it's the same as the Pie. I mean, it's really a mid, and it's classified as a striker, which is quite a pain because it's quite easy to find 3 good strikers this week. It's harder to find 4 good mids, I would say. So
sure.
Yeah, why not? I mean, Lens, Defoe. I will have a few of them, but
at least he's half the price of Memphis, so he's a little more tolerable there. But
yeah, no, that's true. No, he's not bad. He's not bad. He's not the best option of the week.
Pantilimon is too expensive, I think. I mean, he's got a shot at a clean sheet. He usually gets some saves. I mean, they're going to give up shots to literally any team that they play, so that's risky. I mean, I think he was a little bit fortunate last year, considering how many shots he faced and his record. I don't think he's the best keeper in the Premier League, which he basically statistically was almost last year. So
but that's the way Sunderland is playing. I mean, before Mignolet was exactly the same. I mean, he was saving 150, 160 per year, which he was the best. And then he goes to Liverpool, and he's hardly been doing great.
Yeah.
So Pantilimon is the same. They give up so much possession, and they basically let free long range shoots quite a lot, and it's easy saves for him. But
yeah,
he's not bad. But yeah, you're right. It's 9.4, and I don't know.
I don't like spending a whole lot on keepers that I don't actually like their defense.
Yeah, I agree. Because in Mondogoal, at least, the keeper is all about the clean sheet. I mean, the 6 points is quite a lot.
Everybody's getting 1.8 for the minute, so there's no benefit there.
Yeah.
And it's just a matter of
passes is pointless.
Saves. Yeah.
So the saves are okay, but to compensate for a clean sheet, you need a lot of saves. So
right. So Norwich didn't do us any favors. I mean, Redmond came in and did score, so that all of the complaining that took place with him was
Yeah, I
was
didn't
offset.
have much Redmond, so I didn't.
Yeah, I had a fair amount. I just
I saw it.
I kept needing a midfielder in that price range, and he fit very well. I mean, do you think he earned a start after scoring?
Well, we like in the big games, we will see the lineup. So
yeah,
I think so. I mean,
yeah.
It would be surprising if he's on the bench now.
I mean, it'll be nice. It'll be nice that we get the lineups, but keep in mind, we may have, if you make 100 unique lineups.
No, I won't make 100 unique lineups.
Yeah, but there's still no global player swap, so
no, that's true.
It'll be fine. There'll be enough time. There's no reason to complain there. But you're right. We'll know that. Jerome's still 3.5. I think Bradley Johnson will be a guy that we end up using. He was pretty good last year for Norwich. Yep. He's only 4.9. I think he's one of those that's going to be a little more reliable. He had one shot on target, and I think he got 4.8 points for 4.9 million. So that's pretty decent.
Yeah, I'm not sure he will continue playing though, because they bought this guy Brady, and it's
right.
They will compete for.
Didn't they put Brady at left back?
Yeah, but he's not a left back, really. I mean,
well, all he is is a crosser.
Yeah,
that's all he did for Hull. I mean,
yeah, but I think they have Martin Olsson coming. He's a pretty decent left back.
Yeah, that's right.
I don't know. I mean, Johnson will be a good guy when we need to buy this, like Hazard and all these guys for sure.
Right. All right.
Not this week. I'm not too long Norwich this week, to be honest.
Yeah, me neither. I don't need to guess on them.
Yeah.
Swansea hosting Newcastle. Swansea obviously got a good result, and Chelsea, I don't think you could say it was even that lucky. They looked pretty good. I think, I mean, Ayew I thought looked great, but at 12.6, I don't think, at least he's a midfielder.
Yeah.
I think he's worth looking at. I don't know how much of him I'll have.
I'll have quite a lot of him, but probably too much because his floor is very low. He doesn't pass. He doesn't get fouled. He's basically, you hope for a goal.
Right, and the one he had was nice. He cleaned it up well. And you have to figure that they're going to have options. Sigurdsson, I think, is pretty. I think Sigurdsson, though, on the same team at 10.6 is my preference.
Yeah, he has the highest floor.
Or Gomis at 10.2 is also decent.
Yeah, Gomis as a striker will be very popular, I think, this week. For the right reason. Now he's on penalty. I didn't know. I thought Shelby was on penalty, but apparently this year he's on penalty, so it's a big thing.
Yeah, that's a big swing.
Yeah, no, definitely.
Especially against a team like Newcastle, who's probably not going to be very disciplined.
Yeah, no, they're not the best at keeping clean. Yeah, no, definitely. Gomez, Ayo, Sigurdsson, even Shelby was good last week, surprisingly.
I mean, Montero was great last week.
Yeah, Montero was amazing. Which means
Ivanovic was also really awful. I mean, he just looked so slow. And I feel like I've seen Montero have games where he has a speed advantage. He can do stuff like that, but I don't actually think he's that fast.
He's okay, but he doesn't score. That's a problem. I mean, in DraftKings,
at least he took 2 shots.
Yeah, which is amazing.
Yeah, that's a lot for him. Looking back at his game log, he had no shots on target in basically 90% of his matches. So he's probably not going to be someone we use.
It will be very, very highly on Mondogoal tomorrow for sure, because everybody is on him. I would gladly not get that high on him.
Yeah, no thanks. There's plenty of other players in that range too.
Yeah.
For Newcastle, Wijnaldum got a goal. He looked pretty good, but he's dragging his Eredivisie stats over too, and he's 13.3 million.
Yeah, that's
you think you're going to use him at all?
No, not much. I'm not even sure I will have him in a single team. which probably is a mistake because it's, again, money is not a problem this week, so it could be a good differential.
Yeah.
But yeah, there are way better options everywhere.
Swansea's a pretty solid system.
Well, yeah.
So I just don't know if away from home you need to take a guy who we think is overpriced in the first place.
They changed the formation though, because they used to play with 2 defensive midfields. So one of Key or Shelby was on the bench last year, and they played both at Chelsea. So I guess they're much more offensive this year.
Yeah, Key plays good defense, but he's banged up. He's
okay.
He's not guaranteed to play. Key kind of does whatever they need him to do. I think he's a good player. I don't know how good a fantasy player he is. He had a really high conversion rate last year.
Yeah, ridiculously high. He's passing a lot. He doesn't foul much for a defensive midfield. So he's okay. He has a high floor, but his price is way too high, unfortunately.
Mm-hmm.
The defense of Swansea could be good.
Yeah, but none of them attack, though, right?
No, Norton is good. Taylor is okay.
Yeah, I guess Newcastle's not exactly a threat right now in their attack. I don't think Mitrovic is gonna get to play. Cisse needs help to score, even though he's a good scorer for sure, but
yeah,
he needs somebody to be supplying him. I think Swansea's pretty good.
Yeah.
What about Fernandez? He tends to score pretty well in Mondogoal.
Really?
Defense. Yeah. He averaged 6 points a match last year. He got 4 last week without any clean sheet.
Tackles, I guess.
Yeah.
I don't know. Okay. Yeah, I don't have him a lot.
He has net fouls in his favor.
Yeah, which is less relevant now, but yeah.
Fine, but at least he's not a center back that fouls a lot.
Yeah. He doesn't have yellows. That's true.
Yeah, his tackles are pretty good. His interceptions are actually, I think that's where it's coming from. He had 85 interceptions in 28 games. And so when you...
Yeah, that's 2 point something, yeah.
Yeah, but that's fine. But, at 8 million, he can probably get you 8 points. And if you get a clean sheet, he might get you more.
Yeah, no, why not?
Anyhow, I'm not dying to use Swansea defenders, but he's not terrible.
Oh, really? I have tons of Swansea defenders. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's Newcastle.
Yeah, I guess.
What's your best defense then? Except Liverpool. Okay, Liverpool is fine.
Yeah.
Okay.
Liverpool, I've got Swansea.
Okay, yeah, so that's the second best.
Them with, I guess, Arsenal. Who knows?
Really? Away? No.
You don't think so?
I would think so. If you tell me Bellerin is starting, I would play him, but...
Yeah.
What's...
Oh, no, and that's Sunday anyways. It's not really worth it.
That's a problem, yeah. Then you get Mertesacker for 9 million.
I guess Tottenham.
Yeah, why not? Yeah. So effectively,
I don't like.
So
I guess you're right. I guess when I actually make my teams, I'll be using a lot more Swansea.
A lot of Swansea, yeah.
And now you're going to be using Fernandez a lot more than you thought too.
No. My guy is Norton. I like him. Yeah,
he's good. He's good. Fernandez averages more points, and is only 0.2 more. So we'll see. All right. What about Watford against West Brom? West Brom looked miserable. Their game plan against Manchester City was terrible, but Watford is not Manchester City. You like anybody on Watford? Deeney?
Not too much.
Yeah.
You don't know about him. He didn't do amazingly well, to be honest, last week. I don't know. Why not? I think one thing about Pulis is when he gets such a bit, normally he tends to tighten up completely. So I wouldn't be surprised if this game ends up
pack it in and
1-1 or 0-0. It's not an amazing game for strikers for sure.
Yeah.
If I had to use a striker, I would probably go Berahino.
Berahino.
He looked okay.
He's expensive though. but I think that they'll. He had that one goal disallowed. He was clearly off.
Yeah, he had good chances, but that's Man City. I mean, that would be different, I think. So.
Then well, Pula said that he shouldn't have started two strikers against City, but I don't know if he necessarily needs to back off that and then not do it against Watford. For Watford, one player though that we'll be using, maybe not this match, is Igalo. He didn't play last time, but he's only 4.4, and I think I read that he had the most goals in England in 2015, so from January on.
Oh, really? Wow.
And he had a very good. Mzungo pointed this out to me too. He had a very good record in the preseason. Not necessarily that means much, but it might mean that he could move in front of Deeney. So that's something to keep an eye on.
Yeah, no, definitely. His goal was amazing last week. But yeah, no, for sure. I mean, we will see the lineup. So if he starts, for sure.
Yeah.
It might be.
But like you said, there's other good strikers, and we don't really need to save a whole lot of budget. So
well, that's the problem. Is if I get him, I will probably have 5-6 million in the bank, which is not necessarily a bad thing, but it's very hard.
A point I was going to make. With 5,500 teams and with some pretty clear options now, making teams that are unique is going to be more difficult. So if you can find 11 guys that you like, and even if you leave, I think you could realistically leave, 7-8 million up to. Nobody's going to have the same team as you because nobody else is going to be stupid enough to do that. No, I agree. And it's not necessarily a bad thing because, I mean, I think the best team last week was 95 million. So effective. I mean, Igalo, if he's starting, should never be 4.4 million. Like Jerome should never be 3.5. Right. So you pay a price, but it doesn't mean much. So and that's
4 million.
That's the point. Is we play this game, and to do well, we have to beat the Mondogoal pricing in the first place. So if the pricing is completely out of whack, there's no point in looking at the price as dictating how many points you're going to score. So you kind of fall into that trap sometimes where you think, I've got this money left over, I should use it all. But if you're going to win, it's because Mondogoal's pricing is inefficient. So that doesn't mean you need to use the full budget.
Yep.
All right, West Ham and Leicester. This game, based on what we saw last week, could be absolutely full of goals. I thought Payet, is that how you say it?
Yep.
Okay.
He was good.
You speak French, so you can always be my judge there. He's expensive, 14.3. He was so good for Marseille, but he looked great last week. I think that against Leicester, he's going to be the guy that I'm going to be willing to pay for, north of 10 million.
No, I agree. I mean, there's nobody else in the midfield. I mean, you have Kouyaté maybe, but not that. So if you want a midfield for West Ham, you have to get Payet basically. Yeah.
I don't really trust Adrian. He played well last week. I mean, Reece Oxford, I guess, will be popular.
He will be very popular, I think.
I don't think that's necessarily going to be repeatable. And Leicester looked good.
Yeah, they're decent.
I mean, it was Sunderland, so.
Yeah, no, I would.
I don't think West Ham's defense is really that good. Arsenal just was Arsenal.
Yeah, exactly. It's like they do that all the time. I won't use much of the defense. I think West Ham defense will be quite highly owned, but I'm quite happy with that.
They don't really scare me. I mean, Jenkinson's back, and he's
very cheap.
I wrote down, and he gets involved in the attack. Cresswell takes a lot of free kicks.
Well, I'm not sure now with Payet. I mean, I don't know.
That's a good point. Do you think they'll take that duty from him, like just outside the box?
Well, it was really good with Marseille. It was on all free kicks, so I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, for sure, the indirect free kicks, it was Payet against Arsenal that we saw last week.
Yeah.
Now the direct ones, which are the most important ones, it's 50-50. I really don't know.
Right.
Because Cresswell scored a couple last year. So
yeah, he did. Yeah, he looks good on those. But I think you're probably right. If we don't know, is Payet? Do you think is he on penalty duty too?
I don't know. It's him or Sacco. Cresswell, no. Cresswell is not.
No, I know that. Yeah.
No, sorry, it's Noble. It's Noble. Yeah, of course, it's Noble.
Okay.
Mark Noble. Yeah, so maybe Mark Noble then.
Yeah, that could be a good differential then.
I think it's all about Payet and Sacco really.
Oh,
I mean,
sure.
Maybe Zarate.
But you know what? Talking about 5,500 teams, you know, Leicester's undisciplined enough at the back that they could definitely get a penalty, and nobody's going to be using Noble. So if you're right on that, then that's big. Sacco's 6.5. He may be a bit distracted now that it happened over a week ago, but now it's coming out that he's under suspicion of assault.
Yep.
But he's going to play. It's a narrative whether you can say he's distracted or whether he's going to be focused because he feels guilty about being in the news, whatever. Or if he did it, then hopefully he feels guilty about that too. But I don't know. He could be a good play.
Yeah, I like him a lot. He's very cheap.
It's no Valencia, no Carroll.
The thing is, remember last year as well, it was the same. Is unpredictable, really.
Yeah.
And he's fouling a lot, which is less important now, but still. I don't know. Yeah, he's a good player. He's half the price of Payet, so
yeah,
he can't be wrong at 6 million.
So if you think that people are going to be on West Ham, even though Leicester had 4 goals last week,
yeah,
do you think then Mahrez and Albrighton will be less popular, or do you think it'll all kind of shake out?
I'm not sure about Albrighton. Mahrez clearly will be highly owned, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I won't have much. I won't have much Mahrez because he's a very volatile player. It's like his floor is so low. He can be subbed off at halftime if he's really bad.
Yeah.
I think he had 5 key passes and 3 shots on target or something. So last year he never had such a game. I mean, he's a good player, but you can't expect him to do the same against West Ham away. So he's okay. He's an okay player. I think will be more owned than he should be. But he's okay.
Okazaki is going to be a player we're going to want to keep an eye on. He looked pretty good. His numbers didn't really reflect that. But he had a great goal record in Bundesliga for Mainz. And I think that he's going to fly under the radar because nobody really knows who he is. And he didn't play particularly well in the first match. He could definitely score. I don't think Ulloa is going to be clamoring for minutes. He's just not very good. Vardy's a good play at 6.6, but he's got his own little issue going on.
Yeah, well, the good thing is we'll know the lineup. I wouldn't be surprised actually if Ulloa is playing ahead of Okazaki. I don't know. You never know with Ranieri. He's really random. So if you know the lineup and you see Okazaki starting, then why not? It's not the best game away at West Ham, to be honest.
It's not. You're right. All right. So here's the next match is interesting. I think that you and I last year, in the last week of the season, after Arsenal had, I think, failed to score in 3 straight matches, took Arsenal players against West Brom and did pretty well. Now it's a somewhat similar situation that you have to go to Palace, and Palace is the type of team that can give up. They'll get into a shootout or they'll play tight, but it's hard to know what's going to come from them. What do you think is going to happen in that match?
No, I think Arsenal will. I like Arsenal players. I don't expect them to not score again. The only problem I have is I really don't know who is going to play. Alexi, well, hopefully tomorrow in the press conference it will be clear. Alexi is fit to start or not.
Right. I think he will be.
Well, then who do you drop?
Well, it's either Giroud or Walcott up top, I think, most likely.
Okay. So that's one of the two. It's 50-50. And then in midfield, who do you drop for Alexi? You can't drop Chamberlain.
Yeah, I mean, Chamberlain looked great.
He's been the best Arsenal player in the last 2 years.
He looks great.
So you can't drop him.
So then you've got either Ramsey or Cazorla.
Yeah,
playing opposite Coquelin. I mean, unless Wenger goes back to his attacking roots and just says I don't need a defensive midfielder. Yeah. I mean, I would have said he couldn't go the whole transfer window without picking up a defensive midfielder, but he's done well so far.
Yeah, he's doing that every summer. But I still think Coquelin will play. So effectively, you're right. Cazorla or Ramsey would probably be benched.
Yeah, it seems like he ends up taking Chamberlain out though. Of those, he kind of will play that seniority angle a little bit more. I don't think I think Cazorla is such a leader, and he's got
I agree.
Indirect kick duty and stuff like that. I don't see him coming off. So I don't know.
One will be dropped.
Yeah.
And some guys will be disappointed.
Yeah, and that makes it tough to predict.
Yeah, sure. Exactly. So I love Ramsey. He has such a high floor in Mondogoal.
Yeah.
No,
I think that even more than last week, we were all sort of in the same boat, and a lot of managers missed players. Even the winner had Baines.
Yeah.
This week, we're going to see enough lineups.
Yeah.
In advance that it's. I think that it's going to make sense to just make sure that you've got 11 players playing. Taking risks on a guy like Walcott is going to be good as a differential on maybe a couple teams because he's going to be very low owned. Nobody's going to want to take that chance. But having him as a cornerstone of your lineup making is just would be silly.
Yeah. No, I think people got burned, and I agree that they won't do the same mistakes. So I love Arsenal, but I will not have that many or as many as I want for sure, which is a shame because I really like them. I really think they can score 2 or 3 over there for sure.
Yeah, I think it'll be worth. I know Arsenal came out and said he wasn't hurt, but Giroud was hurt. I think he had to.
Terrible in general.
Yeah, he had to have been concussed. Yeah, and he was bad. So I think that gives Wenger a good chance to put Walcott in anyhow. And let's say Walcott doesn't start, he still should get 30 minutes and could score. So I'll have him on a couple teams. I just in a cash game, never. No. And on most of my big contest teams, I had Walcott in all my high stakes last week, so I won't do that again because I saw the cost. That's recency bias, though, and you know all too well not to fall for that trap.
No, well, yeah, and this week you have good you have Kane, you have Gomez, so it's easier this week.
This would be an example of where late swap would be really nice because most people wouldn't even leave room for him. So then you could see who started and then slide in Giroud or even Benteke or Firmino or something like that.
Exactly. Yeah. I'd love some left there. I will have so much more Walcott if I could, but it's
someday maybe.
Yeah.
Do you like Palace against Arsenal at all?
No. There's so many good options, and it's the same. You don't know the lineup. I mean, who is going to start up front? Like they have Wickham, they have Bamford, they have Murray. One of those 3 will start. You don't know who.
Right.
Kabay will start, that's for sure. So why not? It's very cheap. But
he's good.
Yeah, even in the midfield, they can play Bamford on the wing, which means Bolasie could stay on the bench, or they could put
Which
Zaha.
is crazy. They just need to sell him if they can't find room for Bolasie. I don't understand why they don't just cash in. Yeah,
no, I'm sure he will play. He was not fit like last week. He was not 100%. But that's the same. It's you don't know. So is it really worth the punt when you have so many
the payoff's not there because it's not like you're getting a discount for the risk.
No, you
The
don't.
only, the only advantage is game theory and low ownership. But there's other ways to do that without having to take players that can take zeros.
I mean, it's fine if you play like in DraftKings a million maker where you have 500,000 of teams. If you have 2,000, and we saw last week, I mean, they're really all kind of the same at the end. There were no teams with like massive differentials, I would say. So
yeah, but you could also say that there weren't too many goals that were totally unpredictable either.
Yeah, no, that's true. That's true. But I mean, do you really need to be completely like very differential on the field of 2,000 teams? Probably you need one or two, but
yeah, I mean, with 11 players, that kind of helps.
Yeah.
But if everybody's on Kane and Mignolet and Liverpool and stuff like that, that's a third of your team right there.
Yeah.
So you are going to need something. So the best match of the week for football purposes is clearly going to be City Chelsea. I don't know. I mean, at their price levels, they're not facing opposition as good as each other typically. Do you see any profit to be had with City and Chelsea players this week?
Not really. I would love if Aguero starts. I would have a few Aguero because I still think he's a great player. So you can play him like any game.
I would say he has to start, right?
He came up today and kind of said, "Well, I'm not 100% fit. It's really up to the manager. The season is quite long." Basically saying, "I would be fine to be benched again."
Yeah.
Which is not that promising.
Maybe he just gets a half.
Well, I had a few Agueros, and all of a sudden I changed. Half of them I changed already because it's not promising. I mean, you pay 15 million for a guy who's going to play 20 minutes against the Chelsea defense. So
yeah, or they go down 1-0 in the first half, and he comes on at halftime. But either way, you're not getting a full.
Yeah.
You're not getting 90 out of him if that's what they're saying.
No, and I mean, in best case, you will get 70, but even it looks less and less likely. So. Silva I like still because he has a high floor. I mean, I still think they will get possession.
Were you heartbroken when he was awarded the goal today?
Yeah. But like,
you had Yaya, so it actually worked out for you.
Well, not in the high stakes.
Yeah.
In the high stakes, I would have cashed in actually in a couple of teams, but yeah.
Oh, you tortured yourself and went back and looked, huh?
Yeah, I did. But for like in the UK, Betfair, for the first time, they paid back because I had money on Silva, and I received an email like an hour ago. Oh, we changed. We basically settled the market. So they changed the policy. So at least I own not like.
So did they actually take money out of the account of people that had?
I don't know.
Nobody had Yaya to score twice, so it didn't.
I didn't have Yaya. Yeah, I don't know, but for sure they put the money in the account today, which was the first time ever.
That's the type of week one goodwill gesture that
I don't know because they really. I mean, they're a platform like they're an exchange platform. They're not a bookie, so they're not.
Right. It's just a market. So somebody should be on the other end of that then.
I think so because they said we resettle the market and the goal from Yaya is now allocated to.
I'd be furious. Anyway. I'd be furious, but.
Yeah. But all in all, I think it cost me a bit, but not too much. But I don't know how it was obvious. It was Silva. I thought it would be either Silva or an on goal, one of the two. I mean, it was never Yaya.
Right.
It was a heavy touch. I mean, it was.
It certainly moved, and then a bigger deflection came off the West Brom defender. But
it's two deflections.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
So how could it be? Yeah. Whatever.
Yeah.
I think City and Chelsea. The teams are so talented that there could be goals here. It also could be 0-0.
Yeah,
you
never
1-1. It's hard to predict. I think cash games I'll probably just avoid this game entirely, but I think it's worth sprinkling in some of the better players. If we get anything else on Aguero, maybe. But Hazard he only had 6 points. I think he burned a lot of people last week. He can always do something. I mean,
Yeah, Hazard, Silva can do something, and I think people will
somebody can bring down Hazard in the box every game, no matter what team he's facing. He is so fast and such a good dribbler. He could easily get brought down by Mangala or I mean, heck, we saw. Kolarov is not a defender, but I guess we'll see where Hazard attacks from. But I'll definitely have some of him, especially like you said. It's hard to spend the budget this week, so that's one place to do it without hurting yourself too much.
Yeah, that's an issue actually. I think in general people will avoid this game, but they will do their team and then end up with 5-6 million in the bank and upgrade to Hazard or upgrade to Silva just to use the money.
Right.
But in general, I think they would be quite low owned.
Yeah, and there's a lot of new players to Mondogoal, and seeing 6 points from him last game could be a deterrent.
Yeah, I mean, you don't see it.
Hazard,
on Mondogoal, you see the history from last year.
You're right.
So he's kind of the best player. So
yeah.
Yeah, I like Silva. I like Silva a lot. I don't think I will have much Yaya. I think Yaya will be highly owned because he scored 2. I'm not even sure he's fit yet, but in general, it's a tough game for him. It will be much more on the defensive side. So yeah, Silva, Kolarov could still be good, even if it doesn't bring clean sheet. It can bring you a goal.
Yeah.
Hazard, even Costa could be. I mean, it's so cheap.
Costa's a good call. It's not like City's defense is that good. And he played 90 minutes last match, which is promising. I think that's
probably tomorrow.
That's actually
tell us he's got a problem in 2 days training. He's adapt for the game, but yeah, we'll see. Now Costa is not a bad player. There are plenty of. I mean, why not? For a GPP, they are perfect players. I agree.
Right.
I agree. And for once, contrary to Arsenal, Palace, you pretty much know the lineup. I mean, you have one unknown in cities like Kolarov versus Clichy.
But that's not. I don't even think that's really. I mean, I think that Pellegrini has at this point said Kolarov is my guy. He seems like early in the season last year he was definitely getting rotated frequently, but I think now he's confident enough in him to keep him out there.
And Chelsea, you pretty much except you have one unknown as well, is Oscar versus Ramirez, because in tight games he might play Ramirez, but so basically you don't use Oscar, but all the rest you know the lineup, so it's fairly safe.
Right. All right. So closing out, we've got the Monday night game, which this is going to be a game where when you're looking at the standings, especially because it's hard to know. It's hard to know how many players each team has left. You have to click into each team. This is going to be one where if you're leading on Sunday night and you don't have any Liverpool players, you can kiss all your money goodbye because
except if you're leading by 40 points, you can just give up otherwise, and assume you will be outside the top 5.
If you're beating 3,000 teams by 40 points after Sunday, you've done pretty well for yourself.
Yeah, you can assume 99% of the team will have 3 or 4 players of the Monday night game. So I think it could be a good game to fade, to be honest. I don't think I will have that many Liverpool compared to the rest of the crowd.
Yeah? Why is that? Because are you worried about predicting the lineup, or are you worried?
Bournemouth is a better team than people because they are a good team, but obviously they lost to Villa, so people all of a sudden after one game assume that they are a bad team.
No,
I was not impressed at all with Liverpool. I mean,
they were dead last. I mean, if you believe the stat, they were dead last in expected goals last
They were awful. I mean,
and it took a Coutinho strike, and certainly he's capable of doing that because he's done it a number of times. But that should have been 0-0, and you'd be hearing about how disappointing Liverpool was again. But instead, they got the goal. So it's a bit narrative. it's a bit narrative, and like you said, I mean, how is a rising star as a manager for Bournemouth? He's getting an extra couple days to prepare. He might have some ideas against Liverpool. So I could see them, playing in a good organized defense, and I don't think Benteke is a great fit for Liverpool's attack. Coutinho's, besides the goals, is not a great fantasy threat. I could see maybe fading a little bit. Counting on Mignolet for a clean sheet or.
Yeah, that's fine for the clean sheet. That's fine. But for the strikers or the mids, they will be so highly owned.
Yeah.
I think I will be. If I have 100 teams, I will have some Benteke. Obviously, I don't say I will, but I think it will be owned by like 40-50%, and I probably have 20-30%.
Do you think it's Milner or Benteke on penalty duty?
Well, it's Henderson. I think.
You think it's still Henderson?
Well, I don't know. Nobody knows. Probably Benteke. They want him to. If he hasn't scored, they want him to score his first game at Liverpool to give him confidence, I guess. Henderson is the captain, so effectively. So I don't know. I would say Benteke.
Milner's vice captain.
Yeah. Yeah, and Benteke is a striker. I don't know. Yeah, probably Benteke. He has missed a few though, so. Yeah,
I don't think it's Henderson personally. I don't really like Henderson this year. I think that
it was super deep. Like it was effectively a defensive midfielder. They might get Shan or Lucas this game, I guess, to unleash.
Yeah, I'm seeing some people think Henderson. This is old though because they've got Balotelli on there. Maybe. What and this story that has been floating around about Firmino getting a hat trick in the closed door scrimmage. There was no reason for that to get out except maybe to boost his confidence or to boost the Liverpool supporters' confidence in signing him. What was the goal of leaking that information? Do you think Firmino is going to get moved into the lineup and they're softening the blow a little bit for whoever gets replaced, by everybody knowing that he had 3 goals and that's why he's going in? What's going on there?
I think they need. It's kind of the only player who can cross. So if they want Benteke to do well, then they need some guys like him. Because Coutinho is not this guy. Coutinho is either playing.
He's going to play through the middle for sure. Yeah.
Okay, well then Lallana will probably make way. Hybe is not a great crosser, but he's pretty good.
He's fast.
Lallana is definitely not a crosser. So they need a guy who can cross. So I would think Firmino will start just for this because
they need to go buy Bakuna.
Yeah, Bakuna.
Package deal.
Yeah, but Firmino can cross. I think he will start. But again, he's classified as a striker above 10 million. So anyone play 90 minutes.
But if anybody, he's 8.3 million. So if anybody plays a striker from Liverpool, they're going to play Benteke. So if you play Firmino on a Monday night, you're going to be all alone on him. So if he can do it, that'll be a good differential. I know that you're not worried about differentials too much, but I'm gonna have him on a team or two for sure.
Yeah, on a team or two, yeah. But if you have 10 team, you don't have him in more than 2.
No,
probably not in more than 1 actually.
Yeah, I guess it's big talk, but but I also hope to have I live in the East Coast of the States, and so when I have to wake up and make 100 teams before 7:45 a.m., that's a little bit more of a challenge. 10 a.m. I'll have time, so I'm not going to make 100 different teams necessarily, but I think I want to make 100 teams just to support Mondogoal in doing this, and keep getting these contests even bigger, because that's, we had a big talk this week about late swap. Seems like we have it all the time. My thoughts from my experience in the States with DraftKings and FanDuel is that what attracts casual players is the lottery aspect of being able to pick a team, not paying too much money, and being able to win big. These casual players that aren't going to look at the stats, and they're just going to kind of play their favorite players, and those guys aren't going to win over time anyhow. So catering to them in terms of the functionality and keeping their the lineups, making sure all their guys play, giving them that option is good. But overall, like, catering to them is not going to be the way to make money. It's in the States, the profile of the player that spends a lot of money on DraftKings and keeps coming back is it's more of a gambler. It's somebody who's educated. It's somebody who has disposable income. Catering towards somebody that's going to spend £5 a week is not a long-term play unless you can do it in these big contests. And I think that is where you can get the volume. We're never going to run into players that are going to play one £5 game and play us head-to-head. I think that, or if we did, we would chase them out too quickly. So that's not going to be the angle to keep them. I think that gets lost in the late swap argument. I mean, how do you feel, about the burden of having to check lineups consistently?
Well, for me, it's not a burden. I would do it anyway. So
yeah.
The first thing, I think we mentioned it, the most important thing is to have late swaps. You need other functionalities to make it happen, because
sure.
If you can just, like, if you enter, like, today 100 lineups and you don't have global swaps, and you need to, let's say, Walcott last week was in 50% of my lineups. If I have to spend half an hour or 45 minutes to change like 50 lineups, I mean, late swap is great, but it's burdensome. So if you couple it with other functionalities like global swaps, and make like the lineup page quite easy to use, so that you can effectively change your team like in a click or two.
Yeah.
It's a must for all the players, because these famous casual players will find it easy to do it as well, and they will like it, because if they lose, at least they will not like lose because of luck, because two guys in their team didn't show up.
Right.
And that would probably force them to give up the game quite quickly. If they like the functionalities, etc., I think it's a good thing for everyone. I mean, as I said, for me, there are very few arguments. The only argument is you need to check the lineups. But if you have to, I mean, I would say among my friends, I look at it like we all check lineups, and it's like it's a one game every time. So you have like 22 players, and you have 1 or 2 surprises maximum. So it's not like you will have to rework all your teams 5 times a week. I mean, it's
I play on DraftKings here, Premier League, and for me it's easy because it's in the morning and I'm not usually out anyways. But the example that I would use is I play MLS, which is not the best product, as for football, but there aren't too many MLS experts even in the States, so there's some edge to be had there. But what I've noticed is, so they stagger all the start times. So even just on a Saturday, there might be games at 4 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m., 7:30, 8, 8:30, 10, 11. Yeah. It's terrible. And those lineups are totally unpredictable sometimes. They'll rest their best player for no reason. So those can be very frustrating. So I get from that standpoint, I get it. And what I found myself doing is just setting alarms to check my phone, to check the lineups. And, because DraftKings has a great app and the functionality is perfect, it's not that big a burden. But I think as it is right now, if you had to go through on an app because you were out with your kids and your family or with your friends and you're drunk at a bar watching matches, I can see how that would be a big chore, and you're going to lose to guys like you and I that'll make sure that, we're near a computer to make our changes on Mondogoal. I can see how that would be frustrating and would limit me playing big volume. But the converse of that is, the players that do already want to play big volume, they want late swap, I think, to a T. I don't think that, there's so many different mechanisms that have to work for the bench. I don't know if they're all fair. I don't know that they're a better solution. If you end up losing 2 or 3 players and you can't use the single bench option that I think was suggested, people have been asking, where's the innovation? Where's the big ideas? I don't know.
It's very hard to innovate. I mean,
and there's plenty of smart people here in the States that are thinking about that too, and we've settled on late swap, or FanDuel doesn't have it. FanDuel has the NBA as their their biggest partner, and NBA is a much more volatile with their lineups due to injuries than Premier League, and tons of people play in the NBA there. You really lower your risk profile. But I think it's a better game when you can play the players you want to play, and you can have ideas when you see a lineup come out. You say, oh, well, if this guy's playing out on the wing now, that's going to be a much better option. And you can do things that are more creative that I think are more beneficial to the talented managers. And I think that in the end, that's my goal is to reward the players that know what they're doing.
No, I agree, and it's much more engaging and more fun to be able to have 11 players on the field for each team. So it's all about this at the end. It's the fun and the entertainment and
and I think to an extent it's a moot point because Mondogoal is developing it. It's not like Mondogoal is asking us what we would prefer. They've already decided that they want Mondogoal, and I know that Chris over at Mondogoal has experience here in the U.S. and has decided that he thinks that late swap makes it a better product and has sold that to his partners there. So it's a done issue for Mondogoal. It's just a matter of them actually getting it implemented.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean that other sites can't do things that are creative, and I think Mondogoal is going to need a competitor that's not DraftKings, since they're not going to be over there probably till next year. We'll see. But somebody else can step forward. I know WolfBet is now Fan Team, and they relaunched today. I'm interested to check that product out. Play on, still around. I don't know.
Yeah.
Somebody else can step up and be the site that doesn't have late swap if that's going to be what the market's going to need for some players. But Mondogoal's they've got all these partnerships with clubs, and they seem like they're going to be the one that's going to be the biggest, fastest. They're offering the biggest prize pools, and they're going to do late swaps. So, arguing about whether or not we should have late swap at this point is a moot point. Just pushing them to make the other functionalities that we discussed, like global player swap, like a better lineups page, like a better app, that has to come with late swap, or late swap is really not that great in the first place. But it's an improvement, though. We'll take what we can get. The lineups page looks better. We're happy about that. Import export is huge. Now you can make a team, then start another team and import it first, and then swap out a couple players rather than having to start from scratch each time. It's only going to get better, and they know what needs to happen. It's just been a little bit. I think it's been a matter of they've chosen to use their resources to get these partnerships in the door first, whereas DraftKings and FanDuel went the other way around and made their product great first, and then went to get the partnerships. But maybe it's a smarter way to do it. Mondogoal is going to have all these partnerships that nobody's going to be able to compete with when they get over there, and then they can spend the money to improve the product, which they're starting to do. That may prove to be the right decision. We'll see.
Yeah, no, let's hope so, because I agree they have done quite well. I mean, they started a year ago, so
yeah, just over a year ago.
The other websites you mentioned, the Play On, the WolfBet, they've been here for over 2-3 years. So you can see that now that they're well ahead of. Well, Mondogoal is well ahead of anyone in the UK for sure.
Yeah.
And that's only 1 year history. So.
Yeah, I think Mondogoal is. I mean, I think it's a good product already. I just think it could be great, and it doesn't take too much to be great. It can follow the model that DraftKings has established. They've got better scoring and a better soccer product already, better football product. So I'm rooting for them. I think that they're on the right track, but
yeah, I agree.
So we want it to be done and perfect as soon as possible. So we're demanding, but
but it's getting in the right direction. I agree. But as you said as well, I mean, the most important for me is the prices and the fact that they stepped up. I mean, we saw the same conversation about late swaps on different websites. Like some people said, well, if there's late swap, I won't play as much or I won't play at all. I disagree. I mean, if you see 100K a week price pool, you will play.
Yeah.
I mean, you can like it or not, late swap or not, but if you have
you're going to play where the action is.
Exactly. So
it's a lot of talk, and
yeah,
at the end of the day, that's what's going to happen. So, all right. Well, I'll let you get to bed. I've kept you up here a little bit, but thanks as always for coming on, Nick.
Yep.
Good luck this weekend. Hopefully, you made a run last time. You didn't quite finish it, but hopefully we will see you up on the first page of the leaderboard again. Keep an eye, everybody, out on our Twitter feed. We've got Ben Dinnery's injury article is up. I'll have some picks probably by the time you wake up on Friday. We're working on some projections, which I know Nick is not happy about, but
it depends.
Yeah, well, if they're terrible, you'll love
how
them,
accurate. So. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. But it's good. It's going to be a good way to just kind of get an idea of whether somebody's overpriced or underpriced. Predicting what's actually going to happen is, that's the real struggle. So, but it is going to be a nice tool, I think, to have. We're going to have a lineups page here soon enough. So we're trying to catch up. We feel for Mondogoal. We understand that it's not easy to implement new stuff, but thanks for watching. We'll be back with you every week. Maybe not Nick. We'll see how many times I can keep him up till 1 a.m. But
next week I'm on holiday, actually.
Okay, all right, that's convenient. All right, guys. Well, thanks, and keep an eye on fantasy football backers. Nick, take care and good luck.
Yep, good luck to you.